Grit Crusaders. Welcome to the Grit Crusade podcast. I'm here today with my co-host.
Woo.
I feel like that was very Regis and Kelly moment there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's
David Roberts. And we are on the final episode of our mini-series on balance.
Yep.
And it's New Year's Eve week or New Year's week. Both.
New Year's week. Yeah.
New Year's
Eve week and
yeah,
New
it's
Year's
almost
week.
New Year's
It's
time.
almost-
Yeah. I like your balls.
Thank you.
For those
Thank
that are, when I said that, I was just thinking about the YouTube listeners.
Let's make sure these are in the camera.
I know. I was not thinking about our podcast listeners.
Right.
So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you stream your favorite podcast from, David is wearing a headband with two a headband with two shiny disco balls
That's
on
right.
it. And so we'll have a picture on social media to prove it that I'm
Right.
talking about your disco balls. And I have a little Happy New Year little tiara thing going on here. Yeah, straight from the Target dollar spot, baby.
Coming into 2024 hot here.
Yep. And I think I bought them in like 2022 or one maybe. So they probably got a little cobwebs on it. That's okay. No big deal. No big deal. Yeah. You good today?
I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
You?
I mean, you're just living the dream, baby.
That's right. Yeah,
Something
here we
different every
go.
day.
That's
I know.
it.
We both put our phones off to the side and decided that we should probably do a real segment of how often our phone goes off in the middle of recording.
It's constant.
Because it's getting real in the trenches
That's
here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Getting real in the trenches.
Yeah. So if it's your first time watching, welcome. Today is a special episode having a co-host. Sometimes it's just me up here talking, and sometimes I have a guest. And so David's actually the first guest that has ever been asked back. But then he was asked back as a co-host.
Yeah.
And he said, this time. I was like, this is our last episode. He said, for this time. So I think he likes coming on the show.
Never know what the future holds.
You don't ever know. You don't ever know. So today we're going to talk about health and wellness.
Wellness, yeah.
Yeah, balance in life. So
Yeah.
how do we balance? We talked about money. We talked about travel and time.
Yeah.
That one kind of like bled together. We talked about finances, travel and time. And then what was the other one we talked about? I'll have to link them in the show notes.
I think just business.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't?
No.
Hold on.
Hold on. I got relationships.
Relationships.
There it
The
was.
balance of
Man,
relationships.
that took us a second. Yeah.
Business, personal,
Yes,
intertwined.
we did. And so we're going to wrap this up with health and wellness. And how do you find some sort of balance in your life when you're trying to do all these things and grow and learn and become a better version of yourself?
Right.
So do you want to kick us off talking about what that looks like in your life?
Health is wealth, by the way.
Did you make that up?
No, I mean I've heard it, but maybe should I coin it?
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
Like you coined. You can't spell David without AV. When
well,
you
you can't. You can't do that. That's a fact. So,
do you feel like they're? You can.
Well, they're like.
That's how often you move.
Right. I know all the time. I know that about myself.
You can take them off. Are you gonna wear them the whole episode?
I'm gonna try.
Okay. I like how you keep bouncing your head back and forth.
Fall. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, health is a huge. Whatever. Health and wellness. Health is a huge thing because obviously, as an individual, you want to stay healthy.
Right.
I do find too that my perspective on health and wellness has changed as I've gotten older, or at least over the last 20 years.
How so?
Well, I think just by default, it's so much easier when you just talk about getting into shape and fitness and things like that. It's so much easier as a younger person to develop habits and see results.
Right.
And as you get older and kind of fall into an established routine, it's much more difficult to break habits, form new habits.
Yeah.
But for all you young people, even far more difficult to see the results in a positive way.
My gosh.
Seeing the results in a negative way happen overnight as you get a little older.
It does.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
Something happens, and I don't know if it's hormones or what it is, but all of a sudden you're carrying more body fat than you've ever carried, and you don't know like why the stuff you did in your 20s isn't working.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
Like you could skip a couple dinners and maybe not have cookies and cheese dip, and I'm in.
Six-pack.
Yeah, and now it's like 6 months later, and I'm like, did I lose an inch?
Yeah, we used to do every year at work. Again, had a bunch of guys, and we all had a good time or whatever, and good friends, even outside of work. We would do a weight loss competition.
Yeah.
And so it was funny because in our late 20s, early 30s, we would do it for 30 or 60 days and all put a little bit of money in a pot, and we'd bring a scale. Everybody had to weigh in on the same scale.
Then like day one.
And then you weigh back in at the end on the same scale.
Yeah.
And it was not uncommon at all for people to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, 20 pounds in 30 days.
Y'all minute.
Substantial amounts of weight in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I feel like you literally have to go on a 100-day fast to lose 5
5
pounds.
pounds, I know.
It's crazy.
Is our food that bad? Is that what it is?
Well, I feel like it's probably a combination of
Yeah.
those things. Yeah, there's so many byproducts and antibiotics and all those things into the food, and we eat less and less fresh food or natural meats or whatever. But then also, I do think there's probably just a byproduct of your metabolism slowing down. Or I'm not talking about
No,
you,
me too. I'm there. I'm with you.
And we have a little bit of a disadvantage because we're both vertically challenged, right? So I find myself starting to look like.
How tall are you? Because I know this
5'5".
camera, you look tall. So.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I do?
you look tall. Yeah, you definitely look tall. And
I don't ever
the
hear
balls
that.
help.
I never hear that.
The balls help. Yeah, they do. They're just bouncing away.
5'5".
And I'm 5 foot. So yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I tell people all the time. I can tell. I mean, again, 5 pounds.
5 pounds is like 2 pant sizes for me.
Right. It makes a huge difference.
Whereas like my assistant Dia, she is 6 foot. And so 5 pounds for her is like lunch to dinner.
Right.
And like no big deal.
It's no big deal.
When she's 6 foot tall, but when you're 5 foot tall.
Oh, it makes all the difference in the world.
Huge difference.
I have more size options in my closet than Dillard's. Because I've gone from in shape to Danny DeVito 19 times.
Oh my God.
That's true.
Oh
balance. So you can balance that hanging thing on from 30 to 36. You had more size options than anybody.
More size options than Dillard's.
Yeah.
That might be the best analogy.
There's a plug for Dillard's.
Yeah, there it is. They should sponsor the podcast
they should
too.
get the podcast.
They
That's
should.
Right.
They should. So something I've noticed that's different for me is, so last year I took a retreat to Costa Rica for a week.
Yep.
And I went to a completely vegan resort.
Yeah.
And we ate things that looked like eggs, that looked like meat products, that they made organically by this amazing chef.
Were they good?
Oh my God, so good. And like you didn't believe you weren't eating meat and things. It was so it's like something I could never recreate here because his Chef Daniel's skill set at the Imaloa Resort was so talented. But anyway, so through that experience, so Costa Rica is like very high energy, like on the like, scale. And so they're very like meditation, yoga centered, all of this stuff. And so maybe I am just like the one person that didn't know, but after that retreat, I really realized how separate our being is.
Right.
You know, like our human body is only one part of our wellness, you know?
Correct.
So we've got a physical body that we have to take care of, but our spiritual body, like our soul, is totally different. Like when someone dies, and if they're laying on a scaled bed, and they've done this research, this is scientific over and over, at the moment of death, so many ounces automatically leave the body because the soul leaves the physical body.
Yeah.
Like it's a real thing.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of times we talk about working out and diet, which is important, and there are mental effects to those as well.
Right.
I completely agree. But I also have this theory that our mind is totally different than our soul and our brain.
Yeah, that's 3 different things right there.
Yes. And so this like aha moment like helped me realize that there was so much more I needed to take care of in myself than just my physical body too.
Well, 100%.
Yeah, people say that. They say like, you've got to take care of yourself emotionally, or you have mental health. That's like a coined term.
Yeah, huge.
But like, no, it's actually true.
It is true.
Like you actually have to take care of those different parts of yourself, and we don't.
No,
like
totally
as a society, we don't.
Right. And if you talk to people that do go either vegan, carnivore, stop drinking alcohol for a period of time, all kinds of things, they talk about like the mental clarity.
Yes, it's totally different.
Yeah, and how the stages of some of that clarity happen, not just waking up earlier without an alarm clock and feeling just an overall feeling of well-being, but then also at 2 weeks, you have more mental clarity on certain things, but then fast forward that to 2 months, it's even a more pronounced mental clarity and remembering and just all kinds of effects that people just don't think about probably.
No, and it's all those toxins and even
sugars,
if
I mean, all kinds of things.
And even if you live a completely, and I don't, so here's that, but if you lived a complete, like clean diet.
Right.
Completely clean organic food.
Yep.
Completely, everything, no alcohol, no smoking, no drugs, none of that. The air we breathe and the water we drink already contain toxins.
Right.
And so you're already having to filter that out. And so I did a liver cleanse, a 9-day liver cleanse from the medical medium. I saw you. I always had a meeting with you then and couldn't eat the freaking cookies.
The chicken and rice.
Yes, I couldn't eat the chicken and rice, but I took it home because the next day, God, it was so good that Dr. Walters made for. Oh, yeah. But so there was an emotional aspect of this liver cleanse,
I'm sure.
though. Like, so apparently, and I've read all this liver research recently, that there's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it talks about trauma and all that. Well, Anthony Williams talks about in the Medical Medium books is that your liver holds your emotions.
Really?
Yes. And so it is what he has coined the brain of your body. Like it's the brain organ.
Okay.
And it keeps track of everything that's ever happened unless you cleanse it and get rid of it. Whether that's through constant healthy eating or actually needing to cleanse for health reasons and do like a 9 or 12 or 30-day cleanse or whatever. And so there was like these emotional releases where I like found myself like very overwhelmed with emotion for no reason. And I'm like, what's going on in the middle of this liver cleanse? And so when you think about that, you're like, wait, what all else do I have trapped up in my body? You know?
There's no telling.
So like now I'm kind of like one of those woo-woo people like that are like into, you know, crystals and energy and stuff like that because I think it's real.
So are you going to do the liver cleanse again?
Yeah, I am. I think so. My plan was to do it like every 3 months. And so I did it in June, I think was when I did it last. I'm trying to think. No, it was a little before that. It was like April, maybe, because.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, though.
Yeah. So May, June, July, August, September. Yeah. So maybe like every 6 months. I'd probably go 6 months. But yes, I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I think I'm going to keep doing it because I think it's a good thing for my health.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I had some other health stuff too, like migraines. I get these little rash on the backs of my arms.
Yeah.
Different things like that all have to do, a lot of it has to do with Epstein-Barr virus. So most people are walking around with Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, and it stores up in your liver.
Oh, wow.
Your body. And there's like 60 or some odd strands, maybe more than that. I don't know. And it causes all these things, but it's so common. Everybody has it. And then the medical world, you know, is let me give you a pill. So you have to come back and get a pill system,
Treat
right?
symptoms, yeah.
Treat symptoms. There it is. And so I'm more of a like I went
Let's get to the root of the problem.
like I went to the doctor and had a colonoscopy and they like come out with it and they're like, well, you have IBS. So we're going to give you this medicine. You're going to take it 4 times a day.
Right.
Why do I have IBS is my question.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't take the medicine 4 times a day. And yes, now I drink celery juice every morning. And no, I no longer have IBS.
Really?
Yeah. Completely cured. All done.
Yeah,
no
that's
symptoms.
wild.
All good.
Yeah. So I was talking to my cousin the other day, who you know, Jacob Stone.
Yeah.
He did the carnivore diet for 90 days. I'll mess the time up, but let's say 6 months ago.
Is that just meat?
Yeah. So and I had no idea either, but I knew that from seeing him like a year ago and then seeing him more recently, he had lost a bunch of weight. And then he was talking about, when I talked to him the other day, he was talking about he was about to start it again, or maybe he just did start it again. And so I was inquiring about it because I have no idea either. He did all red meats, all fatty fish, and eggs.
Okay.
He didn't do any chicken, no lean meat, basically, or pork. You can do add other variances into it depending on what you want. Like you can have cheese, but it can't be shredded cheese because it's got all the stuff in there to keep it from. It's got to be like
actual whole cheese.
It's got to be whole cheese, all that kind of stuff. Drink nothing but water except for like coffee if you want, whatever. But he did it. He lost 50 pounds.
What?
Right. And he's about my height.
Our height,
you know, yeah.
He's in the 5 foot range.
He's in the 5s. Yeah.
Now,
don't be trying to, you aged me. Number one, you started off calling me Regis. And then, right. And then,
I bet y'all are about the same height, huh?
Or age. Yeah. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
the same age. No.
So Jacob said he lost 50 pounds, though, in 3 months, which is a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah.
And felt amazing and was getting up without an alarm clock and working out every day.
Okay.
And then he has not done it for 6 months and has put weight back on. And he said, even though it's difficult, you know, obviously, and discipline to do, he felt amazing by doing it. And then, you know, you can go to whatever extreme and level you want to in doing it. But he was just talking about it, and I thought it was kind of fascinating. So interesting that I just talked to him a few days ago about that. And then now we're talking about.
And so like medical medium's like the exact opposite, right? Because they're it's all like plant-based and no meat.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think it's everybody's bodies are different.
They are.
But like how come, okay, so I felt amazing on the second half of the liver cleanse. Like felt great, wasn't hungry, all this. And I know we're not meant to live on cleanses, so I'm not trying to be extreme in that way.
Right.
But it does require a amount of discipline.
Oh, 100% discipline.
Why don't you think we can stay on track?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you my opinion about why. I'm not saying this is
like we're
fact,
doctors here.
But every single thing we do as a society revolves around eating and drinking.
It does.
Everything.
It really does.
You get together with your family, you go out to eat and have a drink.
Yep.
You get together for a barbecue or picnic, it revolves around eating or drinking. I mean, every single social setting whether it's philanthropic events or community involvement.
Yep.
When we have meetings, board meetings, we have lunch.
Feed them. Yep.
When we have get-togethers for fundraisers, there's always either a plate dinner or hors d'oeuvres.
Yep.
So I think that's the challenge and that's what he and I were talking about, is that's kind of what got him off of it, is I'm going to these events and tired of saying, hey, do you have any all meat options or all protein options? And
it makes eating out very difficult.
It makes it very difficult.
If not almost impossible, because like butters and things like that, I try to avoid as much because I have dairy sensitivity. And unless you're in Disney World, if you are at Disney World,
they got it all.
Every bit of it.
Every bit.
And it tastes just as good. Like I get my own bread basket.
Really?
Yes. And it's like gluten-free, no dairy, like completely like dairy-free butter, the whole thing.
Well, you bring up a good point about Costa Rica and about Disney World, is until somebody sees and experiences the fact that you can eat healthy or eat cleaner and not compromise taste and enjoyment.
Yep.
Because again, society, and we've caught up commercially with a lot of those things, but again, rewind the clock. Used to, diet food was just thought of as like,
lean cuisines and Atkins.
This is going to be miserable. It's going to be miserable. It's like eating cardboard, polished cardboard. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now there are so many options out there, and I know we just default into diet, and I agree with you. There's so much more to overall wellness.
But I think diet is the hardest part.
And it fixes some of the other things
Man, it
too.
does.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed, like now that which I also found out I had a mold illness, and so I did a detox from that. And so I found out some other like medical things that were going to lead to really bad illness. Like I could have been bedridden. Like it was it could have gotten bad.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm sick all the time. This is not right. Something's going on. The inflammation levels in my body were crazy. All of those things. But I was on anxiety medicine. I was on ADHD medicine. And once I started cleaning up my whole body.
You didn't need any of them?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm not saying that like people that work with me may say I still need to take Adderall or something, but like it's a lifestyle choice. Like, what do I want more? Do I want to have to take medicine? And I think there's a season for everything. Sure. And there's seasons where I've needed medicine.
Right.
And so I don't think anyone should just
And there's probably not that fix may not work for everybody.
It won't. And I think that, and I definitely don't think you should ever do that without talking to your doctor. Sure. That was under the advisement of my functional medicine doctor. And they knew that I decided I wanted to half my medicine and then get off the medicine and all that. But it is amazing the physical changes that you can make that affect the mental changes and mental clarity and brain fog. And people are like, I'm tired all the time. It's not normal to be tired all the time. So people that think that that's just life, like you have a medical thing going on.
But it could be stress, could be blood pressure,
whatever.
could
but
be
like
all kinds of things.
Is as bad as the flu.
Right.
You know, but as a society, we just look at we're busy and tired all the time.
Getting older, tired.
Yeah, but that's not.
It's not true. Right.
It's not true. Like I think that you really can make lifestyle changes to affect that. You know, change that. So I wear an Aura ring. This is an Aura ring right here, and so it's like a heart rate monitor type ring. And it's actually a sleep monitor. It's like the main thing it does, but it has all this sleep data that I could geek out on forever. But one of the main things that I check every morning is what's called heart rate variability. So it has to do with like the different amount of heart rates while you're sleeping. And it's an overall indicator of health and wellness. And it's really used a lot with like Olympic athletes training and the like professional cyclist. And so if they've not had a good night's sleep, they'll change their training regimen based on how they slept.
Oh, wow.
So this heart rate variability thing is the highest I've ever gotten on it's 60. So there's not a normal really. You can look at averages, but there's not, it's really a normal for you. Highest I've ever gotten is 60. And I normally stay around 40 or so. I drank one beer, because I found this new Flyaway light beer that I really like. It's so good. Before bed last night, and it was like 8 o'clock when I drank the beer. So it wasn't like super late. Went to bed about 10. And my heart rate variability average was at 27.
One beer.
And that's how much people think, oh, I'm going to have a drink to help me fall asleep. Right. But really, your liver kicks in about 3 o'clock to start cleaning for the next day, and it wakes you up. And that's why you'll sleep, and then you start tossing and turning in the morning, sweating if you drank too much or whatever. You know, not that I don't know from personal experience. Right. Know. You know, but it's that big of the things that we put into our body really have that much of effect. And then sleep goes into all kinds of wellness because if you're not sleeping well, like people are like, well, I just don't sleep well. You need to make some life changes. Yeah. Like that's not normal either.
Yeah.
I try to tell my husband that. He's like, it's genetic. I don't sleep well. And we just disagree on that topic. Yeah. That's the way it is, you know, because do you sleep well?
Define well.
Like, do you feel rested when you wake up?
Yeah. So I think, yes, I think I am guilty of, I go to sleep early
Okay, me too.
and I sleep pretty good. And I would say pretty soundly, usually for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then I usually wake up. But if you go to bed early, and when I say early, probably earlier than most, like if I'm in bed asleep by 9 o'clock, if I sleep 5 hours, that's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And so what I find happens to me is I'll go down rabbit holes on my phone,
Yeah.
researching stuff or looking into things,
Yeah.
reading. And then usually that happens for an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll fall back asleep. But I don't set an alarm clock.
Ever?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No.
Now I do have to set an alarm clock. If now my husband works nights still 3 nights a week, so he gets home at like 9.
Right.
So I try to stay up, but I don't always. But I'm always
Stay up to see him.
Yeah,
And,
and sometimes that's like 9:30, and that's really late for me.
Yeah, so I'm an early bird.
I'm like a 4 a.m.er to get up and go work out and stuff. But I do set an alarm. But if I didn't set an alarm, I would wake up between 6 and 7.
Yeah, so we never. Caitlin's an early riser too.
Yeah.
We never sleep past 7 o'clock. Hardly ever. I mean, something would be wrong if we did, but she does set an alarm like as a fail safe, so it's not like there's not an alarm set. But we don't typically need an alarm. Yeah, we're usually up and.
What about your 16-year-old? Does he sleep well? Like you got to wake him up?
He like any kid, I'm sure he stays up later probably than we do. Or I know he does, but no, he's not. I mean, he does fine. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, my kid's a sleeper, but he's an early riser too. He's like 6:30 up.
Yeah, now Drake will sleep. Like on the weekends, if he doesn't have school or whatever, he will sleep the day away.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not literally, but
I think I did too when I was that age.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I don't think I had friends that would sleep like till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know.
I never could do that.
Either.
And Drake doesn't do that, but he will sleep till 10 or 11, maybe noon.
Yeah.
But we're stirring around and I'm not like going out of my way to tiptoe.
Quiet,
Yeah,
like,
I'm not doing that. If you want to get up, get up. Yeah,
sun's up, get up.
Of course, he's got everything shut down. It's black in there, so he's not trying to.
Yeah. So do you find with the business owners that you're working with, you know, somebody's going to hire you in, they've seen a need. They know there's a need in their business in some way or the other. Do you see that they have a good balance with health and wellness in their overall life when they're bringing you in? Or are they a stressed out disaster, or it just kind of depends?
Yeah, I think that's individually too, you know, runs the whole gamut. But I do find that people, in at least my experience and the people that I work with, there is a direct correlation with people that monitor their fitness, monitor their diet, monitor their sleep schedules, monitor, not that we get into that a whole lot, but just being around them and seeing what they do and their routines, you can tell that the people that really focus on those things and are aware of those things are typically probably more well-rested, less stressed out, handle things better, are more open to ideas than people that are just kind of stuck in their ways. Because I think that's a lot of it is like, I don't need help. I got this. And that transcends all aspects of your life. You know, when
it's a mindset.
Right. Which is not 100% true. You know, like you can learn something from all kinds of people.
Absolutely.
And so I think you have to better yourself and be willing to and looking for the betterment and be willing to receive that, because it's also ever changing. You know, 5 years ago, if we had this conversation, our conversation would have been totally different.
I'm laughing about these balls on your head still. Sorry.
And they're still shaking in, but they're still up there.
They're still up there. Yeah, and the conversation would be different.
It would be totally different.
We all
and now,
change.
Yeah, we all change, but the technology changes and the science changes too, which you wouldn't think the science should change. But things that we have been told before
are not necessarily accurate.
Not necessarily accurate. And so I think there's been this huge movement of self-help.
The market for wearable technologies.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I've been doing some research into some, like, I'm not always like a person, I'm not going to necessarily jump on more Apple just to have Apple, but I want to know who's making the pieces that are going in the Apple Watches.
That's right.
You know, who's making those sensors, because those are the companies that are a lot of times overlooked, you know? And
investment opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Refer back to our episode before this.
Right.
Yeah.
Investment.
And so
balance.
Yeah.
I got it. You got to tie it all together.
Yeah, you
know?
You just tied a bow on it, you know? So, but I mean, I think the wearable technology market, when you look at even the percent of Apple that's wearable, their revenue that's wearable technology is insane. Like you wouldn't even think, you're thinking phones. No, those watches, a big deal. The rings, all the things that these companies come out with now. But Michael Hyatt is a like productivity life coach that I've followed for years. And he says, what we track, we can improve.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
And then every aspect of your life. Like
Yeah.
if you're not keeping track of how often you're working out or how your sleep's
Right.
going or what your diet's like or how your annual blood work is every
Yeah,
year or
that's
whatever
right.
it might be.
All data.
If you don't know,
If
it's
you can
data
track
thing.
it, you improve it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to flip switches just a little bit and we're going to do trivia in the trenches.
Okay.
Then we're going to come back and talk about a little bit more like mental, spiritual and stuff.
Okay.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing before
Go.
we do that.
We're co-hosting, so you can do this.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah. I didn't have to raise my hand.
Yeah.
I'm in this thing.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
No, you touched on something that I think is the key to what I was saying about that as the time progresses. You just said, I've been following this life coach
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
So think about just saying that. So it takes effort, number one, for you. You're searching for that information.
Yeah.
But there are also people now that are there delivering that information
Yes.
to people all over. And there's a million of those guys.
Yes.
It's not just him. It's not just the Dave Ramsey. It's not just the other diet
Yep.
guy. It's not just the fitness guy in Nashville my wife talks to. It's not just,
Yeah.
there's Ryan Fishers of the world. There's all these people
Yes.
that have great content and it all works. But you have to be looking for it and you have to be willing to receive
Well,
that
and like you were
information.
saying, having that mindset that's not,
Right.
I got this.
I got this because we don't have this.
None of us
because
do.
None of us.
And the world changes so fast
That's
that what
right.
we did have a minute ago, we don't have now.
That's right. And those people that are even like the Ryan Fishers, and I'll go back to him just because I followed him for a while and still do. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
The fitness guy.
No.
He has Chalk, I think is his deal. It's a huge
Do
gym
you
in
like
Orange
do
Beach.
his workouts?
Well, he does workouts, but does diets, and he was an athlete. I mean, he's just
Okay.
one of those fitness
Yeah.
guys that people follow. But
Is that who Carrie Underwood's married to? No, that's
No.
Mike Fisher.
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
But he also is smart enough, or maybe just understands enough, and is willing to say, "Mine, I don't have all the answers."
Yeah.
So there
This
are
is
other,
just one way.
and he follows somebody,
yeah.
and that's my point: is none of us have it all figured
no,
out.
everybody's been
That's
following
right.
somebody
That's
from
exactly
somewhere.
right.
Yep.
And even if he's not following somebody on how to do curls,
Yeah.
he's following somebody on how to invest his money.
Well, when Michael Hyatt's talked about, he offers business coaching, and he has a business coach and always has.
That's my point.
And he's like, why would
Right.
I think business coaching is so valuable. I built a business around it.
Right.
Why would I not have a business coach?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your
'Cause he's
counselor has
still-
a counselor.
Yeah, because he still doesn't have it all together.
That's right. Nobody does.
They don't.
Nobody
They
does.
don't.
Yeah.
And I think
Anyway. Okay.
balance.
Sorry.
Balance.
Yeah.
No,
and
that
that's
was
it.
important.
Yeah.
That was very
It's
important.
like a seesaw. Life's like a seesaw. Balance.
That's good. And like the pendulum could be one way or the other.
And it swings.
Yeah. What's the thing that in the middle of that's not called a pendulum, is
Balls. Those are called balls.
The one still bouncing on your
Right.
head, the disco balls. There it is. If you don't know what we're talking about and you're listening on a podcast platform, just pull it up on YouTube and you can see David's shiny balls on his head. Yep, there it is. Thanks, Dad. I'm sure you're listening.
Right.
Yeah, here we go.
Trivia.
Yeah, trivia in the trenches.
I'm ready.
You ready for this? All right, I'm going to ask
Yeah,
you.
because I'm 0 for 4.
Yeah,
at this
you
point
should
in my
get
life.
this one.
Yeah.
If you don't get this one on the first guess, you should get it on the second guess.
Mm.
All right, you ready?
Okay.
What is the most common Scrabble letter?
R. T.
It's a vowel.
Oh. E.
Yes! You got it on the third try.
Well, you gave me.
You didn't strike out. If we're doing baseball here, you
that's
didn't
a good
strike out.
point.
You
Yeah,
just
that's a
hit-
good
You got a
point.
base hit.
Well, he hits 1 for 1, so that's
Yep.
batting 1,000. But
Yeah.
you did narrow it down to 5 letters for me pretty easily.
How?
There. A vowel.
Yeah, a vowel. Yeah.
Yeah, so you
got
narrowed
one
it
in
down
five.
to
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did good then.
Yeah, it's like the ump doing the little pitching machine at my son's little league baseball game, and he's like, "Are you looking? Are you looking? Are you
See,
looking?"
and if you're thinking like Wheel of Fortune,
Yeah.
huge fan, showing my age here, love
yeah.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
The consonants come first.
Wait,
R,
there's
S, T, L, N, and E.
There's a
you know.
new host. Who is it?
Ooh. On Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah. So Vanna,
Oh, yeah. Now, Vanna.
Vanna asked for a pay raise
Yep.
because she found out what
Yeah.
he was making.
Pat.
Yep. And so
Oh,
Pat's
Pat.
gone.
Yeah.
And who's taking Pat's spot?
Now, I can't call that.
There is somebody though. I feel like
And
I
has it
saw
already been done?
I don't know. They're talking about it though.
Yeah, so if I'm being honest, I haven't watched it since I've gotten back from vacay.
Oh, so like you've watched it like this year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like this
Wheel of
month.
Fortune?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what you're doing at 4 o'clock.
I like Wheel of... No, I like Wheel of... It doesn't come on at 4
What time
o'clock.
does it come on?
Well, that's Jeopardy.
That is
yeah,
Jeopardy,
I do
yes,
like Jeopardy,
yes.
too.
Yeah.
We got on a pretty good Jeopardy kick, and then you've realized how
Oh,
uninformed
yeah,
you are.
you're like,
yeah,
dang, I didn't know
whoa,
any of this
these people
stuff.
are brilliant.
I know.
Caitlin and Drake both make fun of me for Wheel of Fortune. They can't get behind that.
What
Jeopardy, okay.
So are you watching the like new episodes? They come out every day or just
Yeah, I
once a
used to
week?
record Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune every day and watch it when
Every
I got
day.
home.
You just
every
like
day.
knowing useless stuff. Or could be useful, I guess.
Yeah, I think depending on it's hadn't worked out for me in Trivia in the Trenches, but it should have because now I've got to get re-honed in on my trivia so that I can come back and do this. Yeah.
All right, so I have a trivia question that didn't make the cut.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So this is just like a did you know or like nice to know.
It's an off menu item.
Yep, it is. Off menu. You know, off menu.
item.
Yeah. Do you know what they call Santa in France? I know. Okay, you don't know, so I'm just going to tell you.
There's no way.
This is what my son says. He says, like, because you couldn't guess, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Yeah. Pierre Noel. Doesn't that sound so fancy?
That is fancy.
Santa's looking. We could be like, Pierre Noel's looking.
I like the Noel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
wow.
that good?
That is good.
I thought that was
where
good.
the Pierre comes from.
I don't know. And I might be Pere. It's P-E-R-E. Pere? I can't speak French.
Yeah, I think that's not Pierre. I would
Pere.
I would think
Oui.
oui.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick. You're quick with it, aren't you? All right. So let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about our physical body a lot. We've talked about diet a lot. We haven't talked really like about fitness, but we've kind of alluded to fitness. I think fitness is what people mainly think of. So let's go like a little more introspective.
Okay.
So is there anything that you do or things you've seen online or whatever, maybe you don't do them, that focuses more on like your mindset or mental health or spirituality or because I'm a big, I think I did a whole episode on this, I'm pretty sure. But if not, I talked about an episode about how I believe that church and spirituality are two very different things.
Very different things.
Yeah, for me especially.
One's an institution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And another one is
I don't think that's for you.
Yeah.
I think no matter, even if you're devout, religious, and believe heavily in organized religion and all those things, that you have to acknowledge the fact that spirituality and the church are different
religion,
things.
They're very different. Yeah. Oh, I did do an episode on it, so I'll tag that in the show notes. I remember now. I remember talking about it. So what are things that like what do you focus on the inside? So not just diet, not just fitness and health. Like how do you mentally get ready? Yeah,
and so well, and you know me, so people that don't though, I'm pretty high energy and overly positive, and I don't know that that comes naturally necessarily at birth, but at some point I just made the conscious decision and effort that things are going to go awry during every single day. And kind of what we talked about in one of the earlier episodes is you can't really impact things that get done to you.
Yes.
You can only control how you handle it and where you move from there.
Yeah.
So your reaction to things.
Yeah, I think I had said I can only control my action, not someone else's response. And you said flip it.
That. Yep, because
you
that's true too.
You can't control their action. You can only control your response.
That's right, to their action.
Yeah.
Because people are going to wrong you and do wrong things. And the world is wrong and corrupt in so many ways. But you can impact how you hit the floor every single morning and what your attitude is going to be. Because things are going to go south and they're going to do it every day. Mm-hmm. Some days worse than others. But I always tell people, I've never had a bad day. I've had some days that are worse than others, but never a bad one. And I truly believe that because we're here living the best life that anyone could ever live.
Yes.
And so we're way ahead of the game.
Yes.
So even when things go wrong, they're still going so right.
It's so good.
But
I like that.
That's not, I don't think something you're necessarily born with, but I do think your environment influences that. But I think that's a true conscious decision that I could sit and stew on things or be bummed out about all kinds of things, but I just make a choice not to. And I find for me that not only that conscious choice, but then also in doing right and doing right by others and in helping people and in truly being passionate about those things, you start seeing all the good in people because the world really focuses and you only hear about all the bad in people. But if you put yourself out there and talk to people and engage with people and you're trying to help people, you receive so much more from that than they do.
Truth?
Yeah. And so there are all the cliche statements you get out of what you put into it and all those things, but it's real, And so I think all of those kind of things also affect your quality of mind, quality of life, health and wellness. All those kind of things tie in together because if you're just walking around moping all day and feeling sorry for yourself and kind of bummed out, it would be easy to, all those things tie into.
I think you attract what you put out.
That's right. Yeah.
Like people have made a comment to me, well, you just seem magnetic. And I'm like, huh? Like you seem magnetic, like, you have a vibrant personality. But for me, like I said, like you said, like, I don't know that it was ever like, maybe I was born this way. I don't know. But like every day I wake up, like it's a new day.
Right.
Here we go. Like, what are we going to do about it?
But you could probably point to a time in your life where you weren't like that.
Oh, yeah.
I could, for
Everyone
sure.
gets
That's
into
my point.
funks.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get
I
into
could, for
funks.
sure.
But I think once you realize you're in a funk,
That's my point.
then
Yeah.
you're like, what? Wait, what's
Yeah.
going on here? Like, there was a moment between, like, there was like a lull when we were building this new building that we're expanding into, where it was being built. I was seeing all the money being spent, but we were so far from a spot of even
Right.
being able to think about operations.
It's doom and gloom.
That
Can't
it's
see the
like,
light. Yeah.
Did I make the right choice?
Right.
Am I going to bankrupt us? Like,
Right.
should I have done this? Maybe I was too audacious, and like all those questioning. And then
Yeah.
one day I was like, no, damn, we're going to do
Yeah.
this. Like, we are going to friggin' do this.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. But I think it's being able to realize that about yourself, or having people around you that can realize that
Yeah, I
about
think
you.
it's a combination
know?
of both. But I also think it goes back to the other thing we talked about. There's no simple one easy fix for any of those
Nope,
things.
there's not.
It's you making a decision and finding things you're passionate about and investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And taking the time to really work on those
You.
things. Right. Because, yeah.
You gotta
Your
work
biggest
on
project should be you.
You all the
Right.
time. But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, like, I have found myself in settings. And so I don't do a lot of women things. And I do go to some women's ministry stuff in my church, but like women things, like
Yeah.
women all going out to eat together,
Yeah.
women's groups, women's all of that. And this is why. And this sounds sexist, but it is what it is. But I don't find any joy sitting around talking about people. I don't. I find no joy in that. And that's mainly what women talk about.
Mm.
The people they saw on Instagram, the people they saw going on a trip, the people they saw carrying this purse or doing that.
Yeah.
And there's just not joy in that. Now, sharing somebody's story that I met, I think
Right.
is cool. Like, I met
Yeah.
this guy, and I'm like you talked about a 24-year-old that you met and like his zest for growth
Right.
and all that. That's cool. But like, just talking about people is not interesting to me. And so, and I feel like that our society does get into a funk of comparison
Well, and right.
looking at, and like, I've never been a person that looks at social media and been like covet or jealous. Like, I'm never like, they just get to go do all the things.
Right.
My mindset is, and how my first business started was, I want to go to Jamaica. I'm
Yeah.
going to figure out how to go.
Right.
You know, and so if
Yeah.
I see that you and your wife have gone on a trip or whoever, I'm like, that is so cool. I can't wait to hear all about
Yeah.
it, because I want to know if maybe that's a place I want to go one day.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I want to go to Oahu and stay at the Four Seasons.
Right.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I won't know until now. I know somebody that's been there, and if you're like, that was a terrible experience,
Right.
or it was great.
Yeah. Less about envy, more about
Yeah.
genuinely wanting to know about it.
And
yeah.
I find so much joy in other people's happiness and joy.
Yes.
So
But you have to get to a spot in your life that comes from internal happiness.
yeah, okay, yeah.
In my
That's probably-
opinion,
I think that's
it's
true.
easy to be envious and jealous if you're not happy. Misery loves company, the cliche thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key. But I do agree with you 100%. And we've talked about social media a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword, good
Yeah.
and bad, because all of those people that you follow, that's
Yeah.
how you know about them and can follow them, is because the internet and social media.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is it makes your whole life a comparison to all of the people around you, and most people only post the highlight reel.
Right. And it makes it a comparison if you let it.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I agree with you, and I truly am like that too. In that I don't. Number one, I don't compare myself to things that I see or other people. I purposefully yearn for others to win and be
Yes.
successful and be happy. I
That's
love hearing those
fun.
stories. That's what gets me excited. Is seeing somebody else win, seeing
And like,
somebody else get
I
to do
feel
things.
like I almost am like a racehorse with blinders sometimes in life, and that's not always good. And I've gotten better and more connected. We talked about that in a previous episode about interpersonal
Yeah.
skills were not something that was always natural to me, because I am more like blinded and like focused on my mission and what we're
Right.
doing. Here's what me and my team and my people are doing,
Right.
and go. No, I really don't know what the competitor down the road's doing.
Right.
And I actually kind of forgot that they were in business.
Yeah, you're competing with yourself.
Yeah, I am. And I don't mean that derogatory towards anybody. I mean
no.
that literally, like,
Yeah.
I don't think about those
Yeah, your
things.
biggest competition is you, and so I've got
and
to
what I
strive
did
to-
last
yep.
year or 5 years
That's
ago
right.
with the companies or the business or in life or whatever. And so I think, for me, it was also learning to slow down some that has helped me mentally
Yeah.
as much, to have brain space. Like, I want to be able to remember that I need to lay my kid's clothes out the night before, because that's how he knows what to wear.
Right.
He gets dressed. He gets up and gets dressed because those clothes are sitting in that chair.
That's right.
And I want to remember to do that. I put his toothpaste on his toothbrush in the mornings because I'm not here when he wakes up because I'm gone working out. And so if I don't put that toothpaste on his toothbrush, he can't get the cap off and get it
Right.
squeezed out if the toothpaste tube is low. Yeah, there's a solution for that, but you know what? I'm still putting it.
Right.
He's 5. I'm probably gonna keep putting it on there until he's in high school. I
Right.
don't know, but
And maybe further.
But if I'm so
Because.
yeah, because see episode 3 for
Right.
the joke, for the chicken joke. Yeah. So
Show that to crew. Tell him.
yeah, but,
I
but those
caught it.
those like 2 simple things in my life are wins for me, and if
Right.
I don't do them, I'm frustrated with myself because I
Yeah.
know I've gotten so busy and convoluted that I've not thought
You
about
haven't done the
things,
most simple thing.
the most simple things, because I have to keep part of my life away from work and business so I can be a mom and a wife.
Yeah.
And I want that.
Yeah, of course.
But if I'm so busy, I don't ever think about that.
Right.
And so I think we get into this busy mindset of, if like I have all these things to do, I must be really important and I must
Yeah.
be going somewhere. And sometimes we're just sitting in the same spot.
That's right. And sometimes those little things are the most important things.
They
And they're
are.
so simple. And that, again, that translates over into all things too.
It does.
It's not the big things. That's what occupies the most time and space.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the little things
Yeah.
are really what matters.
Do you meditate? Do you do
I
anything
don't.
like that?
No, but I have a good friend that does
Yeah.
and has gotten in that routine over the last, say, 5 years. And he swears by it.
So I'm like a intermittent meditator.
Mm.
So I want to have it as a daily practice, but I haven't gotten there yet. You know, like
Yeah.
I'll do good and do 3 or 4
Yeah.
days in a row. And like a good 30-minute meditation is like better than sex.
And what do you... and what-
Literally. Like you leave euphoric.
really?
It's amazing. Yeah.
And what do you... when you say meditate, because this is what...
This is totally different.
I know.
It is.
I find this interesting too
Yes.
because I had no idea that
Yeah.
like different people, there's different
Yes.
things and whatever.
Yes.
So when you say meditate, what
Yes.
does that look like in the world of Brooke?
Okay. So I use the Headspace app and I do guided voice meditations.
And is that headphones on or just like
no
in a
headphones
room
on.
by
I
yourself?
I have my little sitting room upstairs and I sit on a little cushion
Yep.
and I lay my phone down and I play. And there's this guy, his name's Paul on the app, and he has an Australian accent, and that's my voice. You get to pick
Okay.
what voice you want.
Yeah.
I like Paul's. And so I use based on the amount of time and what the focus is. Is it stress? Is it anxiety reduction? And there's 1-minute meditations.
So
to
these
like,
are options.
these are all options, all
Okay.
different types of
See,
them.
I had no idea.
You could do like the same meditation. I've noticed this. If I could pick the same meditation, choose 3 minutes, and I could pick 10 minutes on the same one. His voice prompts are going to come faster on the 3-minute one.
Wow.
The 10-minute one's got more kind of quiet
Yeah.
downtime, music background in it. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. But it's actually it's transformational, you know. And so I want to make it a habit. So I hope like this time next year
Yeah.
I can say like
And
I've
so
made
what's
that a
the
habit.
ideal time?
So if I like had nothing on my calendar, I would say like 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow.
But like more practical for me is more like 5 to 7 minutes.
And when you do, so you've probably done the 30-minute one.
Oh, yeah.
At least one
Yeah.
time. So when you do the 30-minute one, do you close your eyes?
I do.
Okay. When you come back to and come back to eye opening and
Yeah.
your surroundings, does it feel like 1 minute?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
It feels like
yeah.
the time passed like that.
So that's what somebody was telling me, and I hate to use
Yes.
this because this is going to sound cheesy, but he almost compared it to like going through hypnosis a little bit.
Okay, I've never been hypnotized, but
Right.
maybe.
And
yeah.
so, and I think he was quote unquote hypnotized. Is it hypnotized? Hypnotized.
Hypnotized.
Yeah. Hypnotized. He was hypnotized one time. I'm sure just like, I don't know what for. I can't imagine.
People
but
do
maybe
it for smoking.
Yeah,
People do it
that's
for
what I was
weight
gonna say.
loss. It's a big deal.
something like that. And he said similar. When he comes back from his meditation, it's like he was in a standstill
And had no idea the time
and
passed.
had no idea the time
Yes.
passed. And so I'm assuming if you're listening to a
It
voice
is.
and other instruction or whatever, you kind of get lost in what you're doing
Yep,
and your
you
eyes
do.
are closed and you're trying
And
to
the thing about meditation that I hear people talk about that they've struggled with before is, well, I can't keep my mind from racing. And something that the instructors have always talked about in this app are, if you find that your mind has drifted off, just gently bring it back. That's normal.
Mm.
Because what people fear is, well, I can't stay focused on it. No, you can't. You actually can't. And that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's learning to be conscious about what is actually happening in your brain so that you can make conscious decisions to be anxious, to not be anxious, to
Right.
be stressed, to not be stressed, like so that you can be aware of
Yeah.
that awareness, just like everything else we've talked about.
Sure.
Like when you're finding this balance, a lot of it comes down to awareness, balance
Yeah,
and
balance.
awareness. You
Yeah,
like that?
you're
Got
right.
that word in there. So for me, the Headspace app has worked. I've done some YouTube ones with some more advanced practitioners.
Yeah.
And so those are fun. I've done some that have candle, like you
Yep.
stare at a candle and the flame and stuff before you
Okay.
close your eyes. And so I don't know much research behind meditation. So I'm like a newbie and it's a hobby. It's not like something I want to become professionally
Right.
trained in.
No,
know?
but that's something. I
Yeah.
mean, that's very interesting. And he said the exact same thing. I mean, a lot of what you're saying, but he also said that his mental clarity
Yeah.
from doing it,
Yes.
this was like a component or a supplement to also trying to clean up his eating and maybe not drinking as much
Yeah,
or those
absolutely.
kind of things. And he was saying just the feeling better and the mental clarity
Is
that
insane.
30 minutes gives you.
Well,
and he got in a routine of doing it every day. That's how he starts his morning.
Yeah.
He has a family. His family knows like that's his
time.
when he's doing that 30 minutes, and then he does some working out and stuff too. But he said it's just been life changing.
So
for him.
I like that's the like if I was ever gonna be envious of someone, it would be like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't wait till I get to a point where I made that a habit too. Like that's like I'm more of like
that's the discipline thing.
I'm like more of an like I want to imitate somebody that's doing something good. Like, oh yeah, me too. Let me try that. So, but yeah, so I want you to meditate.
Okay.
Will you do it? Will you try it?
Yeah.
You should try it. There's like a free trial on Headspace. You could use, or you could YouTube it.
Yeah.
And then you have to like report back and tell me
sure.
how you did.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
I'm on
that'd
it.
be awesome. Like, so I want to see you sitting there, send me a little picture.
Crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about. There's something about the fingers.
Yeah.
The different fingers.
That's all your
and
nerve
the different
endings.
chakras. Yeah. And then when I was in Costa Rica, I did a sound bath.
Okay, don't know that either.
So this is life changing.
Okay.
Yep. So you lay on a mat, eyes closed, flat on a mat, like a yoga mat, and they're hitting these bowls and
right.
The different side, and they're practitioners, so they know what they're doing. And so then I was seeing like these bursting of light happening when different bowls and stuff would come around. And so afterwards we did like a little debrief, and it was my chakras realigning, and the colors, like one was white, one was purple, were aligned with the different chakra colors. And she could tell me what energy center would realign during
Holy
that sound.
cow.
Yes.
Wow.
Because our spinal cord is an energy center for her whole body.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So, there we are. I know. And I also think that we talk about like awareness, and I have noticed the biggest drain on me not being who I want to be, or not being centered, not being focused on me, also has to do with the people I surround myself with.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh, so I don't think any of this matters. Like none of the fitness, none of the diet, if you are around toxic people.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. You become the people you're around the most.
You are. And my dad used to tell me that when I was little, like over and over and over again.
Right.
And now as an adult, I'm like, that is life.
Well, so again, cliche statements that people have said for years, and you just kind of disregard.
Yep.
Birds of a feather flock together. Right.
Yep.
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yep.
All those kind of things. But then as you, in retrospect, get older, your perspective changes. Right. If you surround yourself with a bunch of stressed out people, you will become stressed out
person.
Because their stress bleeds into you.
I know.
If you surround yourself with a bunch of negative people, you will become negative.
Yep.
And if you find yourself surrounded by a whole bunch of fit people, you typically will start getting into fitness. I mean, it's just, that's how it works.
It's
we're all
true.
guilty of all those things.
I was reading something online the other day. I can't remember if it was Michael Hyatt or someone else. And one of the points was like 10. Oh, no, it was Dan Founder. I don't know who that is.
Dan.
That's an Instagram handle, Dan Founder. I don't know who he is, but I follow him on Instagram. He's put great tips out there. And it was like 10 tips for whatever. And one of them was like to increase your quality of friends and pay if you have to be there.
Ooh,
like, so if you don't have the kind of people you want to become, like pay to go to conferences, pay to get training, pay to be in organizations that you can be part of that. And I was like, that's like investing in yourself. So yeah,
very
interesting. It was interesting. Yeah. So do you do a word of the year?
I don't.
You don't? Do you know about words of the year?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's like a thing.
Oh.
I've been doing it for years.
Really?
Yeah. So I choose a word every year as like a focus for the year. Like I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Right.
So I do set goals, annual goals. Yep. They're usually financial. One always has to do with improvements on my house.
Yeah.
Because that's the season I'm in right now. One has to do with time with my family usually. Okay. Things like that. So, but I don't believe in New Year's resolutions because I think that everyone just doesn't do them.
No expectations.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah. No expectations. No resolutions. See episode 2. There we are. I think, or 1. Was it 1 or 2? I think it was 2. It was relationships.
2. It was 2.
Definitely 2.
Yeah, 2.
It was 2. Yeah, it was for sure 2.
That's pretty funny.
We'll link that in the show notes. Yeah. But so my word this year was soar. SOAR.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you select the word?
So I just, so I'm also like, because I told you I'm a very spiritual person.
Yep.
The more mentally clear I am, and I've identified things that make me not mentally clear, alcohol being one of them. Now, that's not to say I'm a non-drinker, but I am a very light drinker compared to what I used to be. I used to be an everyday drinker.
Were you really?
Every day.
Didn't know that.
2 or 3 drinks every single day for 15 years.
Really?
Unless I was pregnant or hungover. Yeah, I did a whole episode about it.
Well, the hungover time would be the time to drink 2 or 3 drinks.
Right, I wasn't a good hungover drink, but like I drink every day.
Really? Beer, wine?
Usually beer or wine. I love craft beer.
Yeah.
So, Love craft beer and champagne. I like champagne too. And
Yeah.
so, and I wasn't like a belligerent drunk. And see, we've known each other for years,
Yeah.
and you didn't know that. But I wasn't like a belligerent. Now, I'm not saying I haven't drank too much before, because I have.
Well, right.
Everybody has
Everybody
that
has.
drinks, yeah. But I was drinking too often, for sure. And so, anyway. But I've noticed
Gotcha.
alcohol is one of those things,
Yeah.
right? So alcohol, diet. Yeah, that's a big
course.
thing for
Yeah.
mental clarity. But so I'm just like more of in tune with my intuition if I'm mentally clear. And so I just like reflect for a couple of days, usually in late December, and start thinking about what words I might consider. Like one year I did unchained. That was a word I did.
Like breaking free.
Yeah, transparent was a word I did one year.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like if you had to pick a word, what would you pick? Ooh, that's a bit hard.
Yeah, I
wasn't it?
wasn't expecting that.
2024 coming up. We're the New Year's Eve episode or New Year's episode.
Right. So this will come out. So I guess I have to choose
You have to choose a word.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, maybe that word is balance.
Oh, okay.
And sticking with our theme here. Yeah.
Balance. Yeah. I don't know what my word's going to be for 2024 yet.
Yeah. So you just literally think about and try to get mental clarity around
what do
word
I
that
want to
would be.
focus on this year. And then sometimes I always make a post about it on Facebook and it's not always just because I want people to know my word, because sometimes around June or July, I'm like, what was my word?
Right.
And I have to go look it up again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that was my word. So, I try to just kind of come back to what was I really focusing on for the year. And I feel like by having just one word, it keeps it simple.
No,
Yeah.
No,
My assistant Dia, her word for 2023 was grow. Yeah. It's a great word.
Yeah.
Great word. Keep
Super
it simple.
word. Yeah.
So it just seems like that's just another little trick in my hat. You got any other wellness or health tricks?
No.
tips?
I mean, again, I think just overall in
Balance.
summing, I think it's just balance. But in summing some of that up, again, I think you are your biggest project.
Yeah.
And you have to constantly be working on and improving on yourself. You have to. And I think the quicker in time that we all realize that and really start that process, then the better off we all are.
Well, I think too, when we start focusing on ourselves,
that's my point.
like you're saying, and we're focusing on growing ourselves, we're turning inward instead of focusing on what somebody else needs to be growing with.
Well, that's right. And the sooner you start that, the faster you start recognizing that you are helping grow all of those around you.
You are. And,
right.
And really and truly, who are we to say somebody else needs to grow in some other way? Because we are always a project.
Right.
That's how I view myself. Are your balls clicking
They're
together?
clicking,
They're clicking
and
together.
falling.
Again, look on YouTube if you want to see if you want to see this happening up there. Yeah.
No, I used to always say you shouldn't point your fingers unless yours are straight, because you can't, and nobody's
that's
are,
good.
and nobody's are.
Nope.
There's a hitch in everybody's cord. You can't.
Yep.
Yeah. So I purposely try not to be judgmental about anything or hold anybody to an accountability standard.
Expectations.
Yeah,
see, that goes
it
back
doesn't have anything to do with them. That's all internal.
Yeah.
That's an individual thing. And so the only standard I can really hold anyone to is my own.
Yeah.
And so I've got to do that first. And then by default, if I do that, then those around me hopefully become better because I'm a better version of me.
Or they don't feel like they belong anymore, and they find a new.
It fixes itself anyway.
It does.
That's right.
It's amazing how it all.
And so
works
it's
out
all
like
kind
that.
of fixing.
Yeah.
But it all starts with
yourself.
Fixing yourself.
It does.
Right.
I like that. Yeah. That's a good sum.
It's balanced.
That's a good summary. Balanced.
Yeah.
Good balanced summary.
It's just balance.
Yeah. This has been fun.
Is it done? Are we done?
I don't know. What else? You got anything else?
No, I just
feel like that was
it's
great.
like time's flown. You know? I don't know what to do now.
Like you were meditating.
Right. It kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I feel like I need to get hypnotized, but I don't know for what. That's a trust thing with that though, too, because I want to make sure the person's not trying to hypnotize me to do something crazy. Right?
Yeah, I think most the times I've heard about it, it's like in a group setting. It's not like a one-on-one hypnotized.
Yeah, I wouldn't want somebody like.
I feel like when you say that, I'm caught up on it. I feel like everybody puts an M there.
Hypnotized. It does sound like with an M.
Hypnotized.
Maybe just in the South.
I think so.
Hypnotized.
Anyway, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, enunciate.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's been
fun. I've had a blast.
Thank
it's
you for
fun.
your time.
Always a good time.
Yeah. Until next time with you.
Until next time, because a couple of things I've got to come back and report on my meditation.
Yes, you do.
And then I've got to bring the trivia in the trenches.
You do.
To stump you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah. I'll be ready.
All right. Here it is. Until next time.
You've been listening to the Grit Crusade podcast with Brooke Plack. Our theme song is Thunder City by Lunar Ray, licensed through Soundstripe. This podcast was produced by Luminate Media Group. Thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.